Thank you very much. It was very fascinating. Who is your
And
next speaker?
So our next speaker is Rebecca Rose. Are you there? Rebecca?
Great, sorry. I'm not used to this. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a current doctoral candidate in philosophy at the Slovenian Academy of Arts and Sciences. It's located in Ljubljana, Slovenia. However, I live in Washington, D.C. At any rate, I feel a little like I should have a full disclosure. I am not a historian. This is really an introduction to Holocaust studies for me. Not entirely, but at any rate, enough apologies. All right, so my paper is described as Becoming Another's Mother, Testimonies from Child Holocaust Survivors. My contribution to the field of women's Holocaust studies advances a theory of maternal experience, which grows out of a phenomenological analysis of the temporal tension and moral paradoxicality of the maternal experience, and which defends the maternal as a signature event of ethical action and agency. My research integrates the recorded testimonies of child Holocaust survivors who lived through the Holocaust, either as prisoners in concentration camps, as resistance fighters and the partisans, or as hidden Jews in Slovenia. Because the survivors whom I interviewed were children or adolescents during the Holocaust, my research bears witness to the unique and different ways that each experienced and enacted becoming a mother, or recounted how another became a second mother to them during the Holocaust. In doing so, I highlight the resistance, courage, and empathy of each of these survivors. As an aside, when I began these interviews, I was really intending to try to capture testimony about a child's relationship to their mother. But what I found was that these kind of intimate relations were deflected almost immediately. And what I ended up learning more about were the other mothers who took care of these children. So I thought that was it was like a revelation to me, and maybe because I'm naive, but at any rate, I thought it was worth investigating. I believe the direction of my research is important because it initiates a discussion of the singularity of mothers, or those who acted like mothers, without reducing mothers to agents of a patriarchal system. Rather than seeing mothers primarily as caregivers for the family unit, tribe, or state, I'm interested in defending a view of the maternal, which vindicates the singularity of the maternal by highlighting the ethical tension between an empathetic inclination and a courageous resistance characteristic of those who acted like mothers. I show that this transformative tension, which characterizes the maternal experience, is reflected in the heroic agency and improvisational talent of mothers and those who acted like mothers during the Holocaust. I focus on the heroic actions of those who acted like mothers in an effort to defend an account of maternal virtue, where the mother is figured as moving between empathy and courage, constantly recreating herself and therein becoming a mother to another. My thesis, therefore, supports an alternative account of the maternal, that is, a new account of maternal ethics, which allows us to speak about mothers without relying on stereotypical maternal tropes or minimizing the heroic actions of mothers, and to which I attribute the singularity of the maternal temporal experience. As I argue that the lived tension between a phenomenological experience of temporal continuity coupled with an experience of unpredictable temporal disruption constitutes an affective tension within the maternal experience, I explore the ethical resistance and exigency of decisions and actions made by mothers and those who acted like mothers of others, as reflected in maternal narratives of the Shoah. I show that such mothers recount similar experiences of affective tension, resulting in creative improvisation and morally responsive resistance. Not only do the narratives of the Holocaust provide us with an historical testimony of the experiences of women who took on maternal roles, these narratives, moreover, provide us with a critical educational model for ethical resistance and action. I further claim that it is the experience of temporal tension, as demonstrated through the coupling of courage and empathy, which elicits a powerful source of moral resistance and which provides us with a critical antidote to the violence and debasement of the most vulnerable. Because of time limitations, I'll present a brief summary of the interviews in which 3 child survivors recounted the courage and actions of those who acted like their mothers and effectively became second mothers to them during the Holocaust. I argue that as the weight of possibility experienced by these second mothers paradoxically gave them the necessary lift or boost from which to act and to resist the persecutions of the Holocaust, it was the everyday yet precarious time of becoming another's mother, which endowed these young women with the powerful agency to act as mothers for another. The first Slovenian survivor whom I interviewed is Mrs. Erika First. Erika First is one of the few living survivors of Auschwitz. Although Erika was only 13 years old when she and her sister and mother were deported from Murska Sobota to Auschwitz, she demonstrated great heroism multiple times, saving her mother, her sister, and herself. Although Erika was but a young adolescent, she acted like a mother to her very own mother, who was gravely ill. When I met with Erika, she described to me how she fiercely loved her mother, so much so that she became a mother to her. Through multiple spontaneous and courageous acts of bravery, Erika managed to save both herself and her mother and sister. Incidentally, Erika made a slight reference to her block mother, who effectively allowed Erika to sneak out at night in order to get food scraps, clean them, and then take them to her mother and sister in the infirmary. Although Erika did not emphasize the role of this anonymous block mother, this woman critically enabled Erika to survive. On the one hand, Erika herself became a mother to her own mother, yet was also looked out after and taken care of by another mother, namely her block mother. We thus see how Erika's unusually improvisational and courageous behavior can be understood in response to both the sudden disruption of her entire life, as well as to an enduring commitment and love for her mother, which was fortunately enabled by the care and support of another mother, her block mother. The second Slovenian survivor whom I interviewed is Mr. Tomas Zajc. Tomas conveyed to me what it meant to him to have a second mother during the German occupation of Ljubljana. Tomas was saved by his governess, Savica, who courageously passed him, a 4-year-old, over a balcony to a friend 1 floor down, and then quickly jumped down herself, just at the moment she heard the Gestapo arriving to his parents' apartment. She then fled with him during curfew to her own family's home. Although Tomas's parents were deported to concentration camps, they miraculously survived and eventually were reunited with Tomas after the war. But it was on account of Savica's instantaneous courage and the sustaining courage of Savica's own mother, Eva, who hid Tomas in broad daylight, that he lived to be reunited with his mother. When Tomas's mother finally returned from Ravensbrück, she was a changed woman. As Tomas recounts, her arrival was the happiest day of his life. Nevertheless, Tomas told me that afterwards she refused to speak to him about her experience in the camp. It was too painful. When Jews were mentioned on the radio or TV, his mother left the room. According to Tomas, she was always cold, avoided shadows, and wore 2 or 3 jumpers, always seeking warmth. By contrast, Tomas warmly recounted his relations with Savica, whom he continued to visit in the United States. It was Savica whom he credited with saving him. Otherwise, he would have become a German or be killed. And it was Savica who became his second mother, remaining with his family as his governess. The third survivor whom I interviewed is Dr. Anica Mikoskos. Anica joined the Yugoslavian partisans along with her parents in 1943. Originally from Croatia, Anica and her parents survived the war, fighting and living with the partisans in the forests of present-day Slovenia and Croatia. Because Anica was only 9 years old, she stayed close to her parents in the vicinity of the partisan field hospitals. However, when her parents had to relocate intermittently, Anica stayed with a peasant family and was taken care of by a peasant mother. Interestingly, the family in the village where she stayed were neither pro-partisan nor pro-Stasi or German. Anica described the village as a no man's land, neither loyal to the partisans or the Nazi forces. In spite of the fact that Anica was a partisan child, the mother of the family took Anica in and hid her again in plain sight in front of the Nazis. Anica related to me what she most remembered about this period of her life was the kindness of others, which really blew me away. Like Tomas, Anica described a strained relationship with her own mother, yet fondly remembers the kindness of others, the kindness of the peasant mother who took care of her, the kindness of young soldiers, even the German officer who arranged to have shoes made for her. According to Anitsa, there were many people who did many good things. It was normal. They acted for simply human reasons. In Anitsa's narrative, the intergenerational inheritance of her own familial trauma seems to have been at least partially subverted through a process of healing, spearheaded by those who were mothers or those who acted like mothers, namely Anitsa's own mother, the peasant mother, Anitsa's aunt Elvira, and a cousin's unlikely governess. Consistent with Anitsa's later professional outlook on trauma, she became a child psychologist. It was through a shared empathy of others that kindness supervened and overpowered many personal injuries of the Holocaust. It was through the practical, sometimes instantaneous, yet always precarious maternal actions that provided Anitsa with powerful antidote to her family's history of trauma and allowed her to come to the generously hopeful conclusion that doing good could be a normal thing in the face of the unspoken horror of the Holocaust. In each of the above Holocaust testimonies, those who figured as mothers or mothers of another expressed a conflicting or tensed relation between empathy and an abrupt disruption or unexpected change, which required immediate and courageous action and decisiveness. I contend that the audacity and independent agency of maternal resistance is created through the experience of an oscillating tension between empathy and courage, and as such demands our attention. In conclusion, I propose that through the maternal voicing of the Holocaust, we might learn to unsay or disrupt that which has become dangerously and tacitly accepted by listening to the voices of children who became mothers during the Holocaust, and by listening to the narratives of mothers who saved others' children. I hope to amplify the courage, generosity, audacity, and resistance of those voices in an effort to learn and protect against and resist the most recent escalation of the recurring xenophobia, pronounced racism, and anti-Semitism spreading throughout our contemporary communities. I contend that by listening attentively to the voices of maternal experience, we might come to articulate and nurture our common human sources of resistance, empathy, and courage. Is that 10 minutes?
Thank you very much.